Hey guys, this is Tearless here with another Warlords of Draenor beta video. This is going to be the first of my healing videos, and we're going to be taking a look at Restoration Druids. We're going to look at the major changes to Resto Druids, their changed abilities, their new and changed glyphs, their new Draenor perks, and then finally their new and changed talents. There are several changes, major changes to Restoration Druids. Two of these are kind of class-wide. The first of these is the change to the travel forms. You notice that there is no more flight form or aquatic form on my shapeshifting bar. It is just travel form. And basically what it does is travel form takes the medium of the environment you are in. Right now we are in a fly zone, Shotreth, and it will apply the best form based on the situation. So I get flight form. If I was in water, I would get aquatic form. If I was in a place that did not allow flying, such as a battleground, I would get cheetah form. So just a reduction of abilities there. Another major change across the board for all druids is the removal of symbiosis. Symbiosis was a notorious offender of adding button bloat to the game. So Blizzard, trying to remove button bloat from the game, first ability removed with symbiosis was because symbiosis technically added a symbiosis technically added an ability to all specs in the game. You could not get away from it. Even if you did not have a druid casting symbiosis on you, you still had the ability on your bar. So removing symbiosis from the game effectively removed 34 abilities from the game. So it was kind of a no-brainer. There's several major changes, in my opinion, to Restoration. The first of these is, if you look in the top left corner at the healing, the target for the healing dummy here, I'm going to be casting Light Bloom, and I am constantly casting it, and as you notice, it is not stacking. It just keeps refreshing. Stacking of Life Bloom has been removed from the game, and now it is just a really powerful hot that has a, dispel mechanic built into it. Otherwise, it's been removed from the game. Honestly, I'm kind of indifferent about it. With the change that was made in around, I believe, it was Mist of Pandaria, to where when you change targets, your stacks went with you. I mean, it's just kind of like, well, okay, whatever. The tuning hasn't been done yet, so we don't know just how powerful it will be. But considering that rejuvenation is still there, I'm assuming that Life Bloom is going to be intended to be the more powerful hot that you can put on a target. So, just a simple hot now, no stacking, has dispel mechanic, been changed. The biggest change I think that has come to Druids has been the removal of Nourish. Not because Nourish was technically removed, but the removal of Nourish is from the removal of the 3-tier healing system that was put into the game, where you had the short cast, really powerful heal that cost a lot of mana, and then you had the long cast mana that was Nourish, that didn't heal much at all, but didn't, it didn't cost much mana, and then you had the powerful long heal. That system has been removed from the game. It's been replaced with a much simpler system that makes more sense and works. So the biggest change out of all of this, though, is it allows classes to kind of go back to their individuality that they lost in Cataclysm when that system was introduced. Druids now feel like the hot spec again, where, hey, I dish out all of my healing through hots. I have some emergency buttons to use in case I need to get someone up really quickly, but in terms of healing over time effects, you're never going to beat me. That is a Restoration Druid, and they have returned to that, which makes me very happy. I really love it. So, with Nourish gone, I missed the spell effect, but luckily they added the spell effect in the game to another ability that we will see later. But the old effect that was like increases healing based on the amount of hots you have on the target, that's been removed. I kind of liked that, but it's gone from the game now. So the big deal is that the 3-tier system has been removed. There has been a change to mushrooms and efflorescence. Efflorescence is the nice big circle that goes on the ground when you cast Swift Mend and so forth. And it's been changed a bit. About midway through Mists of Pandaria, they introduced a glyph that allowed you to tie your efflorescence effect to the mushroom as opposed to Swift Mend. And it became so popular that basically everyone took it. So Blizzard just decided, hey, we're going to just implement it in the game. So as you can see, my shrooms, wherever I place them, under any target, it just, places the efflorescence effect. So honestly, nothing but a nice quality of life change. You don't have to waste a glyph on it or anything. It's just there. And that glyph is still in the game where you can like target your wild mushroom as opposed to like having to choose a target. So honestly, I think it's a great change and everyone's gonna love it. Nothing else to say there. Swift rejuvenation has been removed from the game. It is considered too powerful by the developers, and considering its interaction uh, with the new level 100 talents, it makes perfect sense. And when we get to those level 100 talents, you'll understand a little bit more too. But it was just too powerful. Rejuvenation. Blizzard is completely okay with the idea of rejuvenating every target, in the raid. They're completely okay with that playstyle. But they felt that Swift Rejuvenation was too powerful, and it especially is evident with a talent that you will see later. Genesis has been changed mostly in damage formula, but I'm just going to kind of lay it out here so you understand what's going on. They used to increase the speed of your hot by like 400%, your rejuvenation ticks, and that has been changed now to where it consumes the rejuvenation effect and then it applies a brand new hot on the target that is consumed, that does the same amount of healing, but it is consumed over less time. So I'm going to use it right now. You can see it's used across all the abilities, and then you have your Genesis effect. So honestly, a small change there. I don't think you will notice too much. Just know now that it consumes the rejuvenation effect and then it applies a brand new effect onto the target, the Genesis effect onto the target. The last major change to Druids for Warlords of Draenor, for Restoration Druids, is the fact that Wild Growth now has a cast time. Blizzard is trying to cut down on healer mobility. They don't like that healers can just keep running and be on the move and heal without any, kind of consequences or anything. So they cut down on that. Druids got hit very lightly, and they only got hurt in the department of Wild Growth. Wild Growth now has a cast time, as you can see right now. But, Druids were like the original healing on the move spec, so, that's why they got hit the least. But Blizzard wants to reduce the amount of moving while healing. They want you to be stationary and have to, be careful when you actually pull off your heals and so forth. So that's something that you need to pay attention to in the game. Now, Druids aren't as effective as much, but do know that Wild Growth has a cast time. There are a couple of changed abilities for Warlords of Draenor. The first of these is Regrowth. With the change to the 3-tier system, Regrowth, which filled the role of the short, fast, powerful heal that took a lot of mana, has been removed. And so now that allows Regrowth to kind of return back to its hot. It used to have like a 24-second hot that could even be talented higher. I think it could be talented up to 32 seconds. Current iteration on live is at 6 seconds. Well, now it has been up to 12 seconds. So now it's like the old days where you had your regrowth hot, you had your rejuvenation tick, you had your life bloom, you had all these hots ticking at the same time on your main target that you're healing. It's kind of a return to the way things used to be. There is a change though, kind of a trade-off. It no longer refreshes for targets that are below 50% health. So honestly, with that expanded to 12 seconds, you don't really need that, but it's something that people should pay attention, and know about, that regrowth dot's not going to just stick there. Once a target gets below 50%, you're going to have to continually cast regrowth to get that back on there. Omen of Clarity has been changed. It used to pretty much allow you to get a free cast on just about anything, and that's not the case anymore. Omen of Clarity, you're actually going to have to, they've changed it so that it only affects regrowth. To be honest, this is kind of a good thing because regrowth is your mana intensive ability, single target ability. So you're gonna have to, be careful with regrowths and how many of those you spam. And so Omen of Clarity will help with that. But you're no longer going to get free cast, wraths or healing touches, etc. Two major changes to Cyclone. Cyclone's really getting hit with a nerf map. This first one here, um, Cyclone now shares diminishing returns with Fears and can be cancelled by immunity effects such as Divine Shield or Ice Block, and can be dispelled by Mass Dispel. So a huge nerf there for Cyclone. Cyclone's been at the top of CC. It's been everyone's most desired CC for a long time, and now it's being brought down to Earth. Um, Also, in addition to these changes, is that Nature's Swiftness can no longer make Cyclone an instant cast ability. So you can no longer do those instant cast Cyclones. So those are two kind of big PvP nerfs in terms of Cyclone. There are a few removed abilities for Restoration Druids. The first of these is Hibernate, which, just, they took it out of the game. You can no longer put your Druid enemies to sleep. You can no longer put Hunter Pets to sleep. Innervate has been removed. All mana regenerating abilities have been removed across the board, so I wouldn't worry about this too much. But Innervate, Blizzard really wants you to pay attention to your mana, and now that you do not have something there to be like, oh crap, I need more mana, you're going to have to deal with it. And you're going to have to pay attention to your mana. You have to be careful of which abilities you use and which ones you don't. Nature's Grasp has been removed from the game. I know that had a lot of good uses for balance and restoration druids, but it has been removed. And then lastly, there are several cat and bear abilities that have been removed from the game. Just you don't need them anymore. Honestly, it won't affect you too much. You probably won't even. Some people probably won't even notice. But just like for instance, Maul I think is one of them. You can't go into bear form and use Maul anymore. There are a few new glyphs for Restoration Druid. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at them. The first of these is going to be Glyph of Enchanted Bark, which for 5 seconds after activating Bark Skin, you are immune to silence and interrupt effects. I do believe that is going to be very sought after for PvP Resto Druids. Notice that it says exclusive with Glyph of Barkskin and Glyph of Imbued Bark. That basically means you can only have one of those active. You cannot have two of those active. You cannot have three of those active at the same time. You can only have one of those active. Another glyph is Glyph of Shape Mender, which is each time you activate Shapeshift Formed, you are healed for 5% of your maximum health. This effect cannot occur more than once every 5 seconds. So that's decent glyph. I don't know how popular it'll be next to the other Restoration Druid glyphs. The next glyph is kind of fun. It's a minor glyph and is Glyph of Travel. Travel form grants an additional 60% movement speed. This movement speed bonus will not be granted if travel form is activated while in combat. This effect is disabled in battlegrounds and arenas and cannot be combined with other temporary speed bonuses. So it's like a mount, but you can't use it in, battleground, etc. I like it. It's an instant cast mount, just like your instant cast flight form. The last of these minor glyphs is the best, and is Glyph of Flapping Owl, and teaches you the ability Flap. You flap your wings, slowing your falling speed, so it's your own personal druid slow fall. I like it. It allows me to dive bomb out of the air, out of flight form, and then I can use Flapping Owl to slowly get down to the bottom. There's one changed glyph, small change. Now that Nourish is no longer in the game, basically Glyph of Rejuvenation only applies to Healing Touch now, as opposed to having effects with Nourish. That leads us to the Draenor perks for Restoration Druids. To be honest, they did not get the greatest Draenor perks. They have here are their 4 Draenor perks. The first is Empowered Iron Bark, which your Iron Bark also increases the healing the target receives from your periodic healing spells by 20%. There is Empowered Rejuvenation, which increases the duration of your rejuvenation by 3 seconds. There is Enhanced Life Bloom, which your healing touch has a 20% increased critical strike chance on targets with your Life Bloom. And then last, there is Enhanced Rebirth, which is Rebirth no longer is cast time, so just boom, alive again. Simple as that. To be honest, I really wish they could have done a better job on the Draenor perks for Restoration Druids, but for right now, this is what we get. That brings us to the talents for Restoration Druids. Going up the tree before we get to the 100 talents. Soul of the Force has been changed. It used to grant you like a 100% haste buff. Now, Soul of the Force reduces the cast time of your next healing touch by 50%, or increases the healing of your next regrowth, wild growth, or rejuvenation by 100%. So, something to take note of for Swiftmen. Definitely something to look at. In the 75 tier, Disorienting Roar has been renamed to Incapacitating Roar, and it incapacitates targets within 10 yards for 3 seconds. Basically, I believe this was just renamed this so that it could make more sense with the diminishing returns. It shares diminishing returns with mesmerize effects or disorient effects. So, just so you know, it now shares that global DR category with other mesmerize effects. That brings us to the level 100 talent tier. First of these is Omen of Clarity, which is Moment of Clarity, which Omen of Clarity now lasts for 5 seconds instead of 1 cast. To be honest, I don't really like this. I just don't see it being used that much, especially next to the other two. I don't know. We will see when live hits, patch 6.0 hits. But for now, I'm not really impressed with it. There is Glyph of Rampant Growth, which your Swiftman now consumes its own regrowth or rejuvenation, like it used to, but has no cooldown, and its healing is increased by 100%. This is awesome. Like, this is a huge change. So I can sit here, and I can constantly just go back and forth and do Swiftmans on a target. I think that's freaking awesome. I definitely see most PvPers taking this. And as you notice, give a second for the reju effect to go away, the Nourish ability has been added to, the Nourish spell effect has been added to that. So that's really cool. The last talent, the one in the middle here, is Germination. I think this one's pretty awesome. And Germination it allows you to apply 2 rejuvenations to the same target. So if you notice here, I'm going to test Rejuvenation. You can see I have Rejuvenation here. Cast another one, and you can see Rejuvenation Germination has been added. Now it should kind of become clear why Swift Rejuvenation had to be removed, because if you could just dish out double Rejuvenations to the entire raid really quickly, that would have been just kind of grotesquely overpowered. So that's why it was removed. Germination, honestly, I think it's a great talent. I think you're going to see a lot of PvEers take this talent. It's not limited to one target. I can have it on all 3. If you notice in the top right hand corner, Germination is still there on each one of them. So definitely a cool ability to have for Restoration Druids. It really is that playstyle of, they're bringing back that playstyle of, hey, I'm the hot class, and I can dish out hots wherever and so forth. So I really do like that. I love the fact that it's really kind of found its old spec and identity. And if you remember playing Resto Druids, maybe like back in Wrath of the Lich King, you're going to notice it right off the bat. So it's really cool. Otherwise, that is everything dealing with Restoration Druids. I will see you guys in the next class video or Warlords of Draenor video. See you guys later. Tearless out.